Alrighty. Let's do a short one just for fun. Let's do cockroaches. This is cockroaches are super easy. Well, I think they're super easy. Um, there's not very many of them. It's not like a bunch of ants like you just had to go over. Let's do that. So there should be should say cockroach roll call. Cockroach roll call. And that'll have most of what you need to know. Now you're going to have to write a couple of things down that I need to impart upon you. Get this shared. Okay. Okay. Cockroaches. So cockroaches are a big medical issue, sanitizing, the germ transmission, that sort of a thing. The best way to tell the density of a population, and I don't know how it's going to be worded on the test, but like how many cockroaches are you dealing with? Okay. The best thing that indicates the severity of a problem is the fecal deposits. So on the exam, if they say, what are you going to look at to tell how bad the cockroach problem is? And you're going to look for feces, which is what is up here on this top of this cabinet here. It's the poops. Now, sometimes people will paint over the poops, but look inside the cabinets. You'll be able to still see the poops. Now, the other question that you might get asked is which disease is I don't want to say the most common, but is the causative uh, for asthma, or which insect triggers asthma? You're going to say cockroach. It could get asked the opposite way. Cockroaches trigger what? And you're going to say asthma. Okay. A lot of it's really unfortunate. And those of you that work in like inner city areas are very um, economically challenged areas. Um, you run into children that have asthma and you go into the department or their house and the usually it's German cockroaches are everywhere. And it's because of the German cockroaches, they will play a big part of that child having asthma. And asthma can kill you. You can't breathe. Okay. So on the test, just be sure that if they ask you specifically about asthma, you say cockroach. All righty, so let's keep going. Now we're going to go over the smaller roaches. These are all under an inch long. So these are, as adults, they're pretty small. The first one is your German. There's a lot of German cockroach questions. Please, please study your German cockroaches. The other ones you could probably skate by on with just memorizing the sheet that I gave you. Germans are a big issue. First of all, they reproduce the fastest. Second of all, they carry the most, usually, unless it's American, usually carry the most disease. They um, start out in kitchens and bathrooms first, usually because they want the warmth and the heat and the moisture. Warmth and heat is the same thing. Moisture and warmth. And they want to start out there. So if on the test, if they say you suspect a mild or a small German roach problem, where are you going to look first? Kitchen, bathroom. That's where you're going to start. Now, this roach has the most babies out of each ootheca. On the examination, they might say, what is an ootheca. An ootheca is an egg purse. Oo means egg, and theca means purse. So this is a little, um, like a little wallet with little segments in it. And each segment has two baby roaches, two nymphs. So here we've got an ootheca that's approximately 16 segments long. 32 roaches are going to hatch out of this one thing. Not one roach, 32. So with Germans, it runs from 15 to segments to 20 segments per ootheca. So therefore, you're going to have 30 to 40 babies for each one of these ootheca. So they can really go off to the races. All the other roaches have less segments and therefore less babies per ootheca. The interesting thing with this German roach is the female carries this ootheca sticking halfway in and halfway out of her cloaca, which is it's a Latin name for common sewer. So she lays her eggs and she poops out of the same hole. Now, when she's carrying this ootheca, it's primarily for safety because cockroaches are cannibals. So if she were just to drop this someplace, it would be like, a smorgasbord for all the other cockroaches. So she keeps it sticking halfway in and halfway out of her butt for about 30 days. Now that sounds terribly uncomfortable to me, but hey, you know, that's how cockroaches do. Germans, just Germans. Now, when she drops this, the babies hatch almost immediately. And then they can, at least kind of fend for themselves. From egg or from ootheca to adult for German cockroaches is just 2 months. That's super, super, super fast. All the other cockroaches that are on your test take longer than 2 months to go through a life cycle. In the case of Orientals, it can take up to 2 years. So the faster something reproduces means the faster it's going to become an issue. That's why German cockroaches are our nemesis. That is why we hate them so much, because they reproduce very quickly. They also have really good climbing smooth surfaces, which is another thing. Now, how many instars? 6 instars in 60 days. So she keeps the ootheca in her rear end for 30 days. They hatch, and then they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instars, and they turn into an adult, and then they don't grow anymore. And then it takes them 10 days to mate and make another egg case. So you can see in the case of German roaches, this is German now. In the case of German roaches, this cycle goes very, very quickly. Very, very, very quickly.
Sorry, real
No,
quick.
you go right ahead. What?
So 30 days for the egg to hatch,
Mm-hmm.
and then I just got a little confused there. I
Then
thought,
there's another 30 days for it to go through the 6 instars.
okay, so 30 days total from hatching to mature.
No, 60. So
Okay,
you've got 30 days where it's hanging out. The girl bug has got it in her rear end, right? She's
yeah,
walking around for 30 days. Then she drops it, she pinches it off someplace, and then it's going to be 1 instar, 2 instar, 3 instar, 4 instar, 5 instar, 6 instar, 7 molt. It turns into an adult, and that's the end of the line. And then within 10 days, they'll mate and make another ootheca, and then this is the cycles.
gotcha. Sorry.
Okay,
So this is a 60-day circle, not a 90-day circle then.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for, you know what? And you're right. I can see where that would be your perception. So roughly 2 months from egg to adult.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, now notice that, remember there's no pictures. Notice there's what I call racing stripes on your German roach. This is the only roach that has this, other than it has a look-alike, which we'll briefly discuss. But it's got these lines down the length of its body. Now, the first instar comes out with a little belt. I don't think they're going to ask you that, but just keep that in mind that for the very one, the baby tiny one doesn't have these racing stripes, but all the other ones do. And then once they get wings, the wings kind of cover up the racing stripes. They don't call them racing stripes on the test. They're going to call them longitudinal parallel lines. So longitudinal parallel lines. So longitudinal means the length, and parallel means they're running the same direction. Okay. Now, thank God they don't fly. They don't fly. They have wings, but they don't fly. Thank God. All
How
right.
long is their lifespan overall?
It depends. They can, if it's cool, they kind of go into kind of a hibernation-y kind of a thing. So they can last quite a while. And then, depending on the amount of predators. So I would say, I don't know that off the top of my head. I'll look it up on the break. So lifespan of German, question mark? It's a good question. They'll usually produce about 6 to 10 ootheca in their lifetime. So you figure 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, maybe a year. I'm just guessing. I'll look it up for you though on the break, or somebody else can look it up. Okay. Now, this last bullet point, feed on feces of older cockroaches. That's called coprophagy. They're not going to test you on that word. Don't bother memorizing it. But when you're selling and dealing with roaches, not selling roaches, you're selling a roach job, and you're using bait, the bait we use doesn't go bad. If it goes through the cockroach, it's still poisonous as poop. So that's really a good selling point, because the big, piggy, giant, mean roaches, the alpha roaches, eat the food, and the little tinier ones, they have to starve. No, they don't. They eat the crap from the older ones, and the poison is still active, so they will die. So you're going to get a domino effect or a cascade effect. So that's a very good reason and a very good selling point for bait, is that the baby roaches will eat the poop of the adult roaches and they will die as well. So that's very cool. Very, very cool. This roach looks like a German. It's called an Asian roach. Lives outside. That's it. That's all I want you to remember. Which roach looks like a German but lives outside? And this one flies too. Asian flies. Asian Airways. A fun fact, German cockroaches didn't come from Germany. The guy, Linnaeus, who named German cockroaches, he was Swedish. He hated the Germans. He named the most disgusting roach after Germans, because he didn't like Germany and Germans people. So there you go. That's not going to be on the test.
Sorry, real quick. This is also considered the Oriental roach then?
Oh, no. Good eye. Good eye. Good eye. This is an Asian roach. It looks like a German. It's the same size, has the same racing stripes, but lives outside. An Oriental is this big one that people call a water bug.
Okay.
So good question. Do not get those two confused. So Asian is this one. And Oriental is the big black one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good choice. If somebody calls you up and says, I've got German roaches and they're flying all over the place, they're not German roaches. So what are you going to do? Try to keep them outside, spray the leaf litters, tell them clean up their trash outside, that sort of thing. Now, this is a tiny roach. This is only 1/2 inch long. As an adult, that's as big as it gets. Little tiny. These things are a pain in the butt, though, because they will go anywhere through the house. So in Germans, you can go, okay, I'm going to start in the kitchen and bathroom. See where that goes. With brown banded, they can be anywhere in the house, which means it's going to take longer to try to figure it out. And it's going to probably take longer to treat it. So make sure you adjust your pricing. Now, these reproduce a little slower. So it's 3 to 9 months from egg to adult. And they only have between 14 and 18, sometimes 20 eggs per ootheca. So their reproductive rate is half of a German. On the examination, excuse me, I'm sorry, I've got this constriction in my esophagus. You got it fixed. On the exam, if they ask you how a brown banded roach population could have been introduced, it's usually on used furniture and wall hangings. So people that go to yard sales, garage sales, pick furniture up from the side of the road on trash day, these roaches glue their ootheca, their egg purse, onto furniture. The female, instead of carrying the ootheca in her rear end, she has cement that comes out of her rear end, and she cements these ootheca underneath things. So mirror, did I say mirror? You have a brown banded roach problem. What should you be looking underneath? Mirrors, wall hangings, couches, ottomans, furniture of any kind. Pull the drawers out. Look at the drawers. Is there an ootheca that's glued onto it? Came in on the furniture. It says the adults do not fly here. The males will fly if you startle them of your brown banded. You come around the corner and go, blah, 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 they'll fly in the air. Actually, I'm just kidding, whatever. You surprise them, they're going to fly. Remember, throughout the house. Now this, I'm going to go into the bigger roaches, but I've got one I've got to stop in the middle and talk about. And that is, yeah, okay, 5 to 7 months is how long the German roach lives. Thank you so much, David. Okay. So the mid-size roach that I don't have a picture of, but it's on the test, there's at least 4 questions. It's called the Turkistan. Now it is on your cheat sheet. The Turkistan is a mid-size, it's about 1 inch long. So it's smaller than the smaller ones, but it's bigger than the smaller ones, but it's smaller than like an American or an Oriental or Smoky Brown. These roaches came in from the Gulf, well, Afghanistan war. Started out in Texas, coming in on troops in their duffel bags and machinery coming back and things like that. And they've spread throughout the southwestern United States. So if you go work in New York, you're not going to run into Turkistans. You're only in the southwest area. Now they've made it to California about I want to say, so they started out in 97 in Texas. It probably took them about 8 to 10 years. So maybe 2007, 2008, somewhere in there. Doesn't matter. They're not going to ask you the dates. But just remember, it's recently introduced. And it's only the western South United States. Now, the male looks completely different than the female. This is called sexual dimorphism. I don't think they're going to ask you that term, but it's when the boy animal of whatever type looks different. So if you got a mallard duck, the boy has the green head, the girl is all brown with no green head. So the boy looks different than the girl. It's the same thing with the Turkistan roach. The boy roach is golden brown and has wings and flies. The girl roach is black. They could say dark brown or chocolate brown, basically black with like small cream edge, no wings. So the boy looks different than the girl. The boy flies, the girl doesn't. The boy's golden brown or an orangey reddish color. The girl is black with the cream edge. What's happening is people were putting glue traps under refrigerators or wherever the hell they're putting their glue traps, and they come out and there's these two different colored roaches. They go, oh my God, I've got two different kinds of roaches. What the hell are they? It's the same roach. It's just one's a boy, one's a girl. Now, these don't climb very well. So people sometimes will breed them for lizard food, snake food, frog food. And they'll just put them in a trash can and throw dog food and egg cartons in there, and they'll breed them and feed them to their reptiles. But sometimes there's a stick leaning up high enough and they'll climb up the stick. They don't do bathtubs or sinks very well. They try to crawl up and down to the bottom, try to crawl up. So they want to be down low. So if they ask you on the test where Turkistan roaches are going to be, close to the ground, not climbing up the walls. They don't, unless it's like stucco where they could get a good grip. But they're not going to be going up a sink or bathtub or stainless steel or anything like that. It's too smooth. Now they reproduce faster than Orientals. Remember, the Orientals are the big black ones called water bugs. Now, Orientals want to be in cool, dark places. So cooler sites close to the ground, basements, sewers, crawl spaces. The Turkistan is taking over because the Turkistan reproduces faster and it wants the same biological niche or the same place in the environment as the Orientals. And the Orientals are screwed because they don't reproduce fast enough. Orientals reproduce at 1 to 2 years. That's a long time. Meanwhile, the Turkistans are off to the races. So as you progress in your career, now I'll not see it, I'll be dead. But as you progress through your career, you will see fewer and fewer Orientals and more Turkistans because they want the same substrate. They want to live in the same area. Okay? They want cool sites close to the ground. They're going to be battling for that. Okay, so let's go over this one here. This is our smoky brown. The smoky brown is all one color. They're about 2 inches long. They're huge. They live outside, usually. Okay. Now, they are a close relative to the American. Notice the American has this brown pattern with a cream colored edge around it, or a lighter pattern here. There's a light, and then it looks almost like a Day of the Dead kind of a Dia de los Muertos thing going on her skull. That's your American. Now look at our smoky brown. There's no pattern. They're both big roaches. They both fly. Smoky browns, generally speaking, don't come in. Once in a while they do. But they're going to be tree holes, palm trees, wood piles, that sort of it. So let's look at Oriental. These are the ones that want to be close to the ground. Sewers, underground water ducting, pipes, plumbing. That's why they're called water bugs. This is our Oriental. Now, on the test, they're going to ask you about the wings. The male has wings 3/4 the length of the body or the abdomen, and the female doesn't have any wings, so she's got these little stupid wing pads. Remember, very slow, 1 to 2 years to go from egg to adult. That's ridiculously slow. You guys, if you get a bunch of these all at one time, like all of a sudden, city probably flushed out the sewer. So if you're like, there's none or onesie twosies, and all of a sudden, boom, they're everywhere. The power companies or the water company probably flush the sewer out because then they come out, but they're running around going cuckoo. Okay. Now the next one is our American. Now this one can be inside and out. This one flies. Reproductive rate's kind of medium, so 9 to 24 months depending on the temperature. Remember, anytime you've got a warmer temperature, insects reproduce faster. They're cold-blooded animals, so they rely on heat in order to become more active. Okay, now this is a good slide. It shows you where you're going to inspect first. So you're German, kitchen and bathroom. You're Asian, you're going to look outside. Okay, you look outside. Brown banded, the whole damn house. Orientals, basements and sewers. Americans going to be sewers, wall voids, sometimes attics, kitchens, commercial kitchens. I've seen them in commercial kitchens. And then smoky brown, usually they're outside tree holes, palm trees, that sort of a thing. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to move on. We'll do another short one. We will do, let me see what I can grab here. Okay, let's do flies. Flies don't take that long. So grab your fly sheet. Should just say fly cheat sheet. And then I got to kind of bust a move because it's just turned 11. Okay, so let's. From what I hear, you're either going to get a lot of fly questions or hardly any, so it's going to be kind of a crapshoot. No pun intended. All right, so remember, flies only have 2 wings. You're going to look for the source. So drain and sewer flies, rotting fruits, potting soil, carrion. Carrion is dead body. That's what that word means. So a carrion fly is a dead body fly. I didn't know that word when I went to college. I went, what, carrion? What's that? What are we carrying? Where are we taking it? This means dead body. Okay, so here's our 2 main drain flies. Now there are others. These are our 2 main 2. One is the moth fly. It's little and fuzzy. And these are also called latrine flies. So this is going to be in poop. Poop and disgusting drains. The other one is horrible if you have to deal with it. I'm just giving you a heads up. They're called phorids, phorid flies. These are also called coffin flies. Phorid flies eat just about anything. Dead bodies, poop, decaying vegetable material, drain sludge. And they're very, very hard to find the source of because they inhabit so many different substrates. Now they have a weird hopping thing. They don't really technically hop. They have wings, So they're kind of goofy looking when they move. Erratic flight behavior. These will get into, called coffin flies, they'll get into dead bodies and they'll crawl up into your nasal passages and your eyeballs and your mouth edges. And they'll also go, like if you're laying there, you're dead, you don't have any pants on, they'll go up your butt. It's fun. So they'll go into the body will go into the ground. Everybody says goodbye to Uncle Harry, goes in the ground. And these flies will go through their life cycle in a dead body that's buried. And then when they're ready to leave, they'll go through a couple life cycles. When they're ready to leave, you guys, they dig up, they get out of the body, they get out of the coffin, they get out of the crypt, if it's like one of those, cement things, then they will actually dig through the dirt 4 to 6 feet to get out and fly around. So they're very sturdy, durable little flies. So sewer breaks. Well, it's under the house. How are they getting there? Well, they're digging out. They're coming out the sides of the house. They're coming in, maybe in the sub area down underneath the house. So dead bodies. I had a forward fly problem at a mall. They were all over the mall, not just the food court. It took me 3 days. I finally figured out. I went in the elevator, took it all the way down, pressed the door open button, put my flashlight in there, dead bats. The forwards were breeding in the dead bats. They were coming out of the bats, getting on the elevator and riding the elevator up and down in the whole mall. So you've got to be a super, super detective about this kind of stuff. Here's your 2 kinds of fruit flies. You've got red-eyed and you've got dark-eyed. They like different things. They both have that annoying hover thing that they do. But the red-eyed ones want fermented things. They want beer. They want soy sauce. They want vinegar. They want fermenting fruit that's been left out on the counter. Pineapple, bananas, potatoes. So if you've got red-eyed flies, look in those areas. If you've got dark-eyed flies, some people call these black eyes, but they're not red, okay? This is more drains, unused kitchen equipment, garbage disposals, clean-outs, trash cans, mop buckets that aren't getting cleaned, cracks and crevices where there's food particles, that sort of a thing. So remember, you're going to look at the eyes. The eyes will tell you. I'm going to skip this one. All right, you got an office. All the office people are complaining about gnats. There's gnats everywhere. They're making everybody crazy. They're coming from plants in the potting soil. They're eating the roots. People are overwatering plants. So on the test, if they say, you've got an office, there's gnats, where are they most likely coming from? Potted plants. Also, too, people are complaining about being bitten in an office. Whoever's closest to the paper shredder is probably complaining those. The paper shredder makes little sharp microscopic shards of paper as it shreds the paper, and they're pointy, and then those float in the air and land on people. So it's not bugs, it could be the paper shredder. That's not on the test. I'm just telling you so that you can look around. Who's next to the paper shredder? Maybe they don't have fleas. Maybe they don't have mites. Maybe they don't have mosquitoes or gnats. Maybe they're sitting too close to the paper shredder. Now, these are my favorite flies. The ones on the right are called blowflies. People call them bottle flies too, blue bottle, green bottle. but on the test, they're called blowflies. Blowflies are attracted to dead bodies. These are carrion breeders. They're always metallic, metallic black, metallic gold, metallic green, metallic blue, metallic bronze color. They're beautiful flies. They're always metallic. So if you've got metallic flies, you've got something dead. It's a dead rat in a wall, a dead cat under the house, a dead raccoon in the attic, something. Something's dead. Now, the exception to this, there's two exceptions. One is dog poop. If the people aren't cleaning up the dog poop or the neighbors aren't cleaning up the dog poop, they also breed in dog poop. They'll breed in other manure, but they prefer dog. So but if they say poop and dead bodies, say yes for these metallic flies called blowflies. Dog poop, people. Oh, when you're trying to figure out what kind of fly you're dealing with, whether it's blowflies, I was going to tell you the other thing it smells like. The smell they put in natural gas. So if you can't find a dead body or dog poop, then you have them call the gas company and see if they got a gas leak. Because these flies are attracted to the smell they put in natural gas. When you go to look to see what kind of fly you have, and I don't care what kind it is, go to the windowsill and look in the windowsill. People will think you're nuts. They'll look at you going, what are you doing looking out the window? I am not looking out the window. I am looking at what's in the windowsill area. So then you can look and see what kind of fly or what other kind of insect you're dealing with. Most insects are attracted to light. They're going to give you a choice of go up in the attic and look for the dead animal and swing a net around or something. That's stupid. Or go under the house where it's dark and look around with a flashlight. No, you just go to the windowsill. See what's hanging around the windowsill. Then you can figure it out real fast. Remember, egg, larva, pupa, adults. This is a complete life cycle. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. Egg, larva, pupa, adult. Complete life cycle. Complete change. This is a crane fly. People call these mosquito hawks, mosquito eaters. They don't eat mosquitoes. They don't even bite. They're just creepy looking and annoying. Now, flies only have 2 wings, right? Well, what's left of the rear wings are these funny little, look like maracas or drumsticks. That's all that's left of their rear wings. So when you look at a bug and it has big wings and these 2 little, they're called halteres, then you'll know it's a kind of a fly. Now, these act as a gyroscope. So when you're dealing with a fly, an issue with flies, remember they only have 1 pair of wings, and then they have those little guys at the bottom, the halteres at the bottom. So when the wings go up, the halteres go down, and the wings go down, the halteres go up, and it orients them as they fly. Well, if you have a picnic where there's a lot of flies, or you have a mosquito issue on a balcony, or you've got any kind of a gnats, anything that's got the 2 wings because they're very unstable, you can put fans up or have the people suggest that they put fans up, because that air turbulence will keep that fly, whatever kind it is, mosquitoes are a kind of fly, gnats, it will disturb the air pattern and they won't be able to maneuver as well. So that's why you see those little tabletop propeller things, or you see people that have fans in restaurants or box fans blowing sideways under certain circumstances to keep the flies from getting, it makes them unstable. So fans are a great way to you're sitting out in the evening on your porch and all these bugs are bugging you. Just get a fan, plug it in, have it have the air come over you, it'll keep most of the bugs away. The flies away. Just a little heads up. Okay, so almost done with flies. This is super important. This is our house fly. 4 stripes on, 4 stripes on the thorax. 4 walls in a house, 4 stripes on a house fly, 4 walls on a house, or 4 walls to a house, 4 stripes on a house fly. They're going to ask you that. Make sure you know it. 4. How many lines are on a house fly? So I'm actually going to say 4. 4 walls to a house. Now, this does not want dead bodies. This wants garbage and poop. And poop can be dog. They're like horse, cow, goat, people, whatever. But this is not going to be dead body. If you've got house flies, usually it's not a dead body. It's going to be garbage and poop, basically. Now, these can be an issue because they can fly up to 3 miles from where they hatched out. So, you know, you're kind of screwed. Put some fans up. You can use bait. Bait on flies works great. So you can get it spray on, mix it up in a tank, spray it on the surfaces that it's recommended on the label. The flies land on it in the morning to get warmed up, because remember, they want to warm up in the sunshine, and then eat the bait, and then they die, and it's very gratifying to watch them spinning around in their death throes. I know I'm a sick individual. I'm sorry. Never mind. Okay, so remember, manure, garbage for houseflies. 4 stripes, 4 stripes. Super fast reproduction. A week to 10 days, from egg until it's crawling on your sandwich. Flies are filthy, 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 filthy. I'd rather eat a cockroach than a fly. Let's just put it that way. Cockroaches are filthy as well. But ugh. I'll throw away whatever part of the sandwich something's crawled on. I will not eat it. You can get dysentery. Also, there's a lovely thing that can happen if you eat, and I've never believed this, so I had to go read the papers. If you eat fly eggs, you can get what's called myiasis, or myiasis, myiasis. And that means the eggs go in your stomach. They don't get killed by your stomach juices, your acid, and you'll get maggots in your stomach. And I was like, ha, 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 sure, right, whatever. No, it can happen. So you don't eat anything the fly's been crawling on. Don't let your friends do it. Don't let the baby, like if you got a baby and there's flies landing on it, shoo them away really fast. You don't want them to deposit eggs and germs. Gross. Gross, 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 gross. Okay. Enough of that disgusting discussion. This is super important. It's on the test. Housefly versus stable fly. Housefly, 4 stripes. Stable fly, 4 stripes. What the heck? This fly drinks blood. It doesn't eat manure and garbage. It sucks your blood. So it can look like a housefly, but it's not. So on the test, they'll say, this fly looks like a housefly, but it's a piercing, sucking, blood-sucking mouth part. What is it? You're going to say stable fly. Not horsefly. That's wrong. Stable fly. Okay, let's talk about mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are a kind of a fly. So remember, what fly carries West Nile? Mosquitoes. West Nile virus. Mosquitoes are aquatic breeders. We already talked about that. Standing water. Get rid of standing water. Look for the larvae in standing water. They look like little tadpole-y thingies. Standing water. Now, what can you do when they've already hatched out of the standing water and they're flying around? Well, you can put misting systems up. You can use fog. You can treat resting sites. Cluster fly. Now, this is an oddball, weird, unusual fly. Please memorize where it lives or where it develops, and that's earthworms. It is a parasite of earthworms. So on the examination, where do cluster flies breed? You're going to say earthworms, which is a bizarre life cycle. I don't think they're going to ask you the age or the time frame or anything like that. They're just probably going to ask you, where are they breeding? Is it trash? Is it poop? Is it dead body? Or is it earthworms? Pick earthworm. Talk about bizarre. Now, they're called cluster flies because they, excuse me, they overwinter in clusters. So this is somebody's attic. Could be their sub area. When it gets cold, they don't move. They'll nest like this. You suck them up with the vacuum, or you can dust them. Just, you know, if it gets so cold they won't move, you suck them up. Okay, remember, office, fungus gnat. Office, fungus gnat. Office, fungus gnat. All right. So it's a little prior to 11:30. I'm going to go to 19, that's 10 more minutes. I hate to get in the middle of something. Let's do, I don't have a cheat sheet for this, but it's real short, and then we get it out of the way, so it might go a little past 11:30. All right. The more we get out of the way now, the better. Okay, so we're loading up. Zoom, share. Okay, so these are occasional invaders. An occasional invader is something that shows up on occasion. So these are unusual. They're not often seen because they usually aren't an issue. So things you just aren't used to seeing every day. Crickets. Remember your crickets, you've got your camel cricket. Camel crickets live in caves, cool areas. You've got your field cricket. Remember, it lays eggs in the dirt or the soil or the turf. There's the mole cricket, which I don't have a picture for. It digs with its front legs. And there's the Jerusalem cricket, which is the big, ugly one that bites real hard. Those are your 4 crickets you need to know. I know there's questions on all of those. So camel cricket are in caves and damp areas. Field crickets are outside, and then they come in and they're breed in soil. Mole crickets dig with their front legs and dig a hole. And Jerusalem crickets are bitey, bitey, bitey. Box elder bugs, we've already talked about them. They're annoying, but they don't bite people. Hang on. Okay. Wolf spiders. It's this bottom one. They're big. They hunt without a web. Which spider hunts without a web? Wolf spider. hunts without a web, chases its prey, like a wolf pack would chase its prey. There's a, if I can write this down. Remember, there's no pictures on this examination. This is supposed to be a spider web. On the test, they call this a Halloween style web. It's the one that goes like this. Halloween style web. This is made by an orb weaver. An orb weaver. So Halloween style web. What made it? Orb weaver. Okay, so you get that. Orb weaver. We've already talked about these more. We've talked about them. Centipedes. Just memorize. Centipedes, 2 legs per segment. Millipedes, 4 legs per segment. Centipede, 2 legs per segment. Millipede, 4 legs per segment. Centipedes, which is the top one, run fast and eat other bugs and bite and have venom. They have poison. The bottom one, slow moving and grazes like a cow. It eats just mold and mildew and junk like that. Both of these want to be near water. So damp areas. So remember, centipede, 2 legs per segment, bitey. Well, they don't really bite. They grab with their front legs, which has the venom in it, but whatever. They have poison. And then centipedes, no poison, move slowly. They eat decaying vegetables, leaves, things like that. Wasps, meh, we'll talk about those later. Okay, this is an important slide. This is clover mite. It's the one on the right that's red. You're going to run into this. Looks like it's been drinking blood. It doesn't. God made its blood red. You're going to have customers that say, oh my God, look at all these things crawling over my wall. They're red, and when I touch them, they stain. They stain. It's very hard to get the stain out. They don't bite. What do clover mites do? They do not bite. They stain. Be very careful with them. It's super hard to get out. It's like red wine or blood stains. Horrible. Cherry juice. And then house mouse mites, remember, anytime you get rid of the host, then what it was eating the host is hungry and will bite people. So if you've got people complaining about being bitten, you can't see them. You can see clover mites. You can see clover mites. You cannot see mouse mites without a scope. But have you been trapping mice lately? Have you been trapping rats lately? Was there a cat here that's no longer here? Was there a dog here that was no longer here? Was there birds that aren't here anymore? Okay, you might have a mite problem because you took away their favorite food. Whatever animal's gone now. They're going to bite people. They're not going to ask you this. They're not going to ask you that. Okay, that's our timing. Okay, we're perfect. All right, so it's, I'll call it 11, excuse me, 11:30. Okay, I'm going to call it 11:30. So I will see you back at 12:30. 12:30, you guys get an hour for lunch. 12:30. If you want to start in on your test, you can, or you want to, go out and do whatever, prance around. Okay, so I'll see you at 12:30.